All right. So before we do anything else, can you just introduce yourself? Give me a big hello with your name, age, whatever you consider your hometown back in Canada, and your job.
Hi, my name is Elisa. I am 29 years old. I'm from a very, very, very small town in Ontario called Teeswater. It's about 1,000 people. And I am a yoga and meditation instructor for Shopify and Google currently.
All right. Cool. So, I guess the first thing I always like to start with the thing from your pre conversation that struck me. So, how like are you an expert communicator? And do you talk to trees? And what the fuck does it mean to talk to trees?
I love talking to trees. I am an expert communicator. I actually studied, strangely enough, not strangely, I studied with a plant medicine woman in Toronto, or I guess herbology, plant medicine, and we would have meditations in which we would practice our communication with plants.
So is this like when you talk like so? What is it though? Like, how do you talk to trees? So can you just start this off like I can communicate or I can talk with anybody. I'll even talk with trees. And then how the fuck do you do that?
How do you talk to trees? Okay, this is how you talk to a tree. You go up to said tree and you give it a big hug and you connect with it energetically. Then maybe you sit with it and you feel it. So it's not so much like an outward speaking, but rather it's a sense feeling that you can have with nature, with trees, with flowers, with plants. And
And that
that,
was great. But you kind of did the Jeopardy thing with your question, including the question where you're like, "How do you talk to trees?" So can you just give me a clean sentence like, like I'm an expert communicator. I can talk, like I even can talk with trees as a way of introing the thing you just did. You don't have to say any of that again. Can you just be like, "I talk to trees," real quick?
I talk to trees.
Good. That's perfect. And do you realize how like is that funny to you or like are you proud of it? Like, what do you think about talking to trees?
Well, it's funny now. What can you ask me? I'm sorry, I'm losing it a little. Can you say that again?
No, like what like you're laughing. Why are you laughing? Is it funny that you do that? Is it funny? Are you proud of it? Like, what do you think of it? Like, what do you think of the time in your life you were talking to trees?
When I speak to trees, I think it is both funny and serious simultaneously, kind of like life. So when I speak to trees, I can communicate to them if I am feeling like super calm, super meditative, and really in my element, in my zone. I think it's important to be able to open communication with nature because it does have a lot to say.
And then what is something a tree has told you in the past?
A tree has told me to be still, to be wise, to be grounded, to chill out, and to be more patient.
And have you listened to the trees? Are you listening to the trees in your life?
Most of the time. However, sometimes it takes me a while to learn the wisdom that I receive.
So you did good. Can you just say I
All
listen to
right.
trees most of the time? So you said most of the time without including my question.
Okay. I listen to trees most of the time. However, it takes some time to integrate the lessons that I learned from nature.
And who's more reliable, men or trees? Like, who would you
Trees.
rather have a conversation with? Okay, so like, I'd
Sorry.
rather speak to a tree than a man.
I would rather I would rather speak to a tree than a man.
Great, thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate you taking this so good-hearted. Um, so, are you a yoga teacher? But who do you teach yoga to? Are you teaching like yuppies at Google? So like, what the fuck do you do right now?
I teach yoga to amazing people at Google and Shopify. I am really, really happy to be working with these two companies. Um, oh my God, I can't answer that question. I'm not answering that. Not
Well,
yuppies at Shopify. Come on.
how well this is going to air on TV. So, but like, what's challenging about it? Because you seem like a very open person, and I'm sure a lot of these people are open. But do you ever like, what's like the hardest
the hardest part of my job for teaching online for Google and Shopify is obviously, my lack of technology skills. And what is interesting about this is actually I went into Shopify and Google with a lot of judgments about quote unquote these people, and they ended up being my biggest teachers because they have learned the opposite lessons that I have in this life.
And how good are you just at relating to people that are different than you? Do you feel like that's one of your best skills?
Yeah, I would say I am really, really good at relating to people that are probably my opposite because those people end up becoming my greatest teachers generally.
And then like you just came out and said this to Rebecca. Are you weird? And like where how did you get the way you are?
Oh, I am a super weirdo. And how did I get this way? Well, I grew up in a small town with a Pentecostal mother and a party animal father, and the polarity between the two landed me in the middle. And I guess I think I've always just been super funny. Like, I remember just being a kid and going on stage and saying a speech and making 300 people laugh and being like, oh, that's obviously my favorite thing in life to do is make people laugh. So from there, I continued my journey yeah, just basically anywhere I go, I try to just bring joy and laughter into these situations. Sometimes,
And
most of the time at my own expense.
what has yoga done for you? What does it give you? Why do you love yoga? Why do you practice it? Like what is yoga giving?
Yoga gives me, wow, so much. Yoga has given me peace of mind. Yoga has strengthened my body. Yoga has showed me how to clear my energetic body. Yoga has really showed me how to connect to others out of love, regardless of where they might be coming from. And yeah, I guess the meaning of yoga is actually union. So, yoga has really shown me how to connect my mind, my body, and my soul all into one vessel.
And then, like I also like this that you told Rebecca, like, when you're really humming, like sounds come out of your mouth, like even belches. So, like, what comes out of your mouth sometimes? What comes out of your mouth sometimes? Is it like, and just give me that. Like, what the fuck has come out of your mouth, and what is that in the service of?
So, when I'm doing energy healing or energy clearing, I am sometimes working with belching, which I did some research on to make sure that it wasn't just acid reflux. And it is an old Mayan technique that used to be used for clearing energy. Sometimes I do singing. So I'll work with someone one on one doing like hands on therapy. So it could involve singing, it could involve belching, it could involve really loud breathing. And what does it do? It just, I guess it moves the energy from the person receiving and it just like moves it out of them and
And
through my face.
and then, are you vegan, and do you view yourself as a master fruitist? And what does it mean to be a master fruitist?
I don't know what that means. Could you explain that?
I swear you told Rebecca that you consider yourself a master fruitist.
Oh,
Like
master
something.
fruitist. Oh, I thought you said brutist. I didn't know what that
No,
word
like
meant.
not like I'm not talking about like Caesar and et tu brute or whatever the fuck. Um, what like are you a vegan? Are you a master fruitist? And what does that mean?
A master fruitist. Well, I have gone days of
Yeah, can
I
you just say
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm vegan and I consider myself a, and then finish the thought?
I am almost vegan, so mostly I call it more intuitive eating, but it does generally end up being more vegan. I have done quite a few experiments on myself where I am just solely eating fruit, and I love it. I love it. You get super light, you have lots of energy, extra creative, and it's just like another way of working with food.
But are you a master fruitist? I gotta hear the master fruitist. What is it to be a master fruitist? Are you good at foraging? Are you good at using fruit efficiently? Like, what does it mean to be a master fruitist?
Uh, to be a master fruitist, I don't know if I would, maybe I use the words incorrectly, master fruitist. I wouldn't consider myself the master of masters of fruit. However, I have gone days of just eating fruit, and I do this to cleanse the body. I do this to have more energy. I do this, yeah, when I'm feeling a little bit heavy, lethargic, stagnant energy. That is when I turn to just fruit. In terms of how I work with like herbs and tinctures and plants, is I have learned a lot of the properties of these plants from working with a dear friend in Toronto. So I am able to forage mostly in, I guess, like Ontario forests and know some of the plants that are going on there. And yeah.
Great. Let's hit stop and start a new clip. So you're doing awesome. Thank you for having